Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be with you all today for the HI-HERImpact Pitch Competition, Kansas City. We are thrilled for this is our first time in Kansas City, but rest assured, not our last. My name is Melissa Bradley, and I am founder and managing partner of 1863 Ventures, and we are honored and thrilled to be the implementing partner for the HI-HERImpact Pitch Competition, sponsored by the Ford Motor Company Fund. This competition is the culmination of several weeks of work by a lot of amazing people that I'm going to talk about a little bit. But this competition comes after a summit that we had amazingly online, still engaging people's interest with the sole focus of helping female social entrepreneurs, particularly in the Kansas City area. For the past several years, Ford Motor Company Fund has been implementing this event across the country with the intention to help those who we know are underinvested in, overlooked, and underestimated. And for the past several years, I have the privilege to be in places like Miami, to be in places like DC, to be in Detroit, and now we are thrilled to be in Kansas City. To kick things off and to welcome us, I am honored and privileged to introduce you to Pamela Alexander. Pamela is the Director of Community Development for the Ford Motor Company Fund, which is the philanthropic arm of Ford Motor Company. In this position, she is responsible for leading Ford's fund's community engagement outreach strategy initiatives with key nonprofit organizations throughout the United States. Some of these programs include HI-HERImpact, as well as Driving Skills for Life, which is a multicultural women's initiative, as well as education and community development programs. What I'm most excited about is that Pamela and I are both Hoyas, graduates from Georgetown University, but over the past several years, I can tell you I've not met a more caring, compassionate person in corporate America who really wants to make sure that this is not about a brand, but really helping folks on the ground who have amazing visions for awesome businesses. I'm pleased to introduce you to Pamela Alexander to offer our welcoming comments.
Well, thank you, Melissa, and good afternoon, everyone. And we are just thrilled to be here today. And thank you, Melissa, for your partnership and your leadership through 1863. I'm really excited to be joining you and this great group of entrepreneurs for the HI-HERImpact Kansas City Pitch Competition. HI-HERImpact, as Melissa mentioned, is a joint venture between Ford Fund, which is the philanthropic arm of Ford Motor Company, and 1863 Ventures that provides educational opportunities, technical assistance, mentoring, coaching, and financial resources to social enterprises run by women. Since 2017, Ford Fund has provided business development resources to more than 500 entrepreneurs and invested $300,000 in women-led social enterprises in Detroit, Washington, D.C., and Miami. And here we are in Kansas City. Over the past several years, Ford Fund has increased programs and initiatives that support social entrepreneurs from underrepresented communities, because we believe that investments in high potential social enterprises like this are important for individual success, and they provide outsized returns for the communities they serve. We're proud to support women who are leading the way in creating businesses that strengthen their communities and help make people's lives better. Last month, we hosted the first HI-HERImpact Kansas City Entrepreneurship Summit virtually, which featured interactive keynote presentations, panel discussions, and workshops to help women-owned small businesses grow and increase their social impact. And today, it's exciting. In just a few short minutes, 6 amazing women, social entrepreneurs from the Kansas City area, will have the opportunity to pitch their business ideas to a panel of judges. I'm glad I'm not one of them. It's always so hard to choose, for cash prizes worth up to $50,000 from Ford Motor Company Fund. So please join me in congratulating our finalists. They are amazing, and wishing them all good luck. And thank you for spending this time with us today. Thank you. Back to you, Melissa.
Thank you so much. It's always great to see you. I cannot wait till we can get back together in person. And so hopefully that will start soon. So there's a couple of things that I want to just remind you that Pamela just said. This is a competition. And the best part about it is that you will get to vote. So make sure you get your cell phones handy but more importantly, make sure you are listening attentively to these amazing women as they make their presentations, because you will get to help decide how much money they actually receive. Now, as Pamela mentioned, I have never been a judge, and I am glad that I have never been a judge because it is really hard. But we have 3 amazing judges who are ready to listen, ask questions, and most importantly, help decide how we allocate that $50,000. So first up, I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Tony Reinhart. And if you are from Kansas City, you probably know Tony. Tony is a native of Kansas City who grew up in nearby Lexington, and he is the Regional Director of Government and Community Affairs for Ford Motor Company. In this position, he works to carry out community programs in the Midwest and Southern region, and it has been a true honor to be able to work with Tony on this amazing project. Second judge is Giselle Cabrera. She is Community Relations Manager at the Ford Motor Company Fund. In this role, she leads the charitable and community relations programs, including HI-HERImpact, and she is dedicated to making people's lives better by providing access to opportunities and resources that help them reach their full potential. And luckily, she's seen enough of these, so I'm trusting that she's got a keen ear for what she thinks are going to have impact. And of course, we could not be in Kansas City without having the amazing Lauren Conaway, who just broke it down for us during the summit. If you don't know her, you should. She is the founder and CEO of Innovate Her. Through her organization, she has worked to create a community of professional women in the Kansas City area. She is also co-host of the Startup Hustle podcast, in which she interviews women leaders and entrepreneurs. And if we're lucky, she may even interview some of the winners. So I want to thank you all for taking on this task. It is not going to be an easy one, but I know each of you are up for it. So before we dive in and get started, let me just give some quick rules for those of you in the audience. So each entrepreneur is going to get 3 minutes to pitch, and then the judges will get 5 minutes to ask them Q&A. And so what I would say is think about what kind of questions would you ask? And are you hearing what you need to hear to be able to vote for the Audience Participation Award? So if you're ready and I'm ready, then let's get started. First up, we have Anita Cole, and she is founder and head of Kafoka. And Kafoka is a company that she started that focuses on social sustainable clothing and homeware brands seeking to prevent global warming and coexist with nature. And we all know that is more than needed right about now. Anita, thank you for being first. I wish you luck, and I'll see you at the end of your 3 minutes.
Thank you. Danny, are you going to say start, or I just started?
You can go ahead and get started whenever you're ready, and the clock will start.
Okay, thank you.
No
Hello,
problem.
everyone. My name is Anita Cole. Today, I'm here to introduce you to Kafoka. Kafoka is an eco-conscious and sustainable clothing brand based in Kansas City. We have sold more than 300 aprons this year and in more than 10 colors. The 3 core pillars of our brand are sustainability, eco-consciousness, recruiting, supporting, and empowering refugee immigrant seamstresses by responsibly sourcing native fabric and other materials. Kafoka products come with premium features, but we do not offer any fancy packaging. Instead of that, we have composable bags that will disappear in 150 days. In the next slide, we are taking you on the market side of the textile industry to explain the problem we are solving. We want to bring back manufacturing to America, as the textile industry has lost more than 1.4 million jobs and keeps losing more every single day. We want to support the traditional American denim mills by purchasing locally, helping them to keep running their business, as America is the leading textile importer, accounting for more than 35% of the global trade. We are creating sustainable products and reducing carbon emission rates, as most apparel producers in the market are non-biodegradable materials. In the next slide, we will take you through the current apparel market that is valued for more than $350 billion business. Our customers are restaurants, culinary lovers, individuals who want to be pro-planet and love to wear handmade and a quality apron for multi-purpose usage. Being a very niche market, we have only two competitors, but they do not completely manufacture in the US and are importing fabric and materials from other countries. Next, I want to talk about my beloved team who has made it all possible. I work in the capacity of founder with my CFO. I have talented seamstresses who craft the beautiful aprons you see in the images. And I have a digital team, designing team, and web developer. In the next slide, we want to share with you our financial growth, how we are expanding as a profitable business. We have gained 19% profit in 2021, and moving forward, we are expecting to grow more than 80%. By following goals, launching new products, styles, and colors, focusing on the Costco Minority Venture Certification Program, selling more than 300 aprons within the 6 months, and hire more refugee immigrants who we can help provide a source of steady income. If we get the grant, our focus will be hiring SEO agency, building a sales and marketing team, as we do not have direct sales through our website. And I just want to show you the product which we have created. This is the apron. It has a ring for towel. It has a loop for tongue, and it has big 2 pockets and chest pockets. And in the future, we're going to launch products. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the good thing is we got all the amazing information and we still got a little glimpse of the wardrobe. So that is awesome. So I'm going to invite our judges to start asking their questions, and we have 5 minutes for Q&A.
Thank you.
Anita, this is Tony. I'll ask a quick question. So I'm trying to make sure I understand that what the market opportunity is or what you're targeting. Because you brought up Costco at the very end. So are you looking at your it being more of the individuals, or are you looking for commercial, all the above? I mean, what's your target market, I guess?
We are looking for both. Currently, we are selling our aprons to restaurants, cafes, and chefs, but we have also collaborated with local retailers like Hy-Vee, Function Junction, and Cafeteria. But we are looking for big retailers like Target and Costco. That's our target, actually.
And then who is your competition right now? I mean, anybody else? I understand you're in the sustainable side of this. Is there anybody else's direct competition?
Actually, no one is our direct competition. And there are 2 companies who are creating aprons, means good aprons, but they are not into sustainability. And most of the fabric which they are getting is from other countries. And they are actually manufacturing those products in other countries, but they are US companies.
Thank you.
Anita, thank you so much for that presentation. That was great, and I love that you're attacking actually multiple problems at once. So you're creating some pretty great impact. So you mentioned in your presentation that in the future you are looking to expanding your product line. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the products that you're hoping to offer? What kind of timeline you're looking at? Just give us some more information on that.
Yeah. So currently we are selling standard aprons, which I'm wearing. And we have creating few patterns also that's called cross back and pinafores. And in future, means actually that is in process. We are going to launch our linen dining napkins. And we are also going to launch Try-It. It's handmade, all sustainable. And we're going to collaborate with local stores in Kansas City. And we are in actually process. In the morning, I got order for 16 sets actually. And yeah, that's our focus.
Okay. Random question, but with some of the smaller items, are you able to use scraps from other cuts from the other products to create like the trivets and the napkins and things like that?
That's what we are doing. This is what I got last week, and a shop told me that if they can make something, and I said yes. And actually this, you can see that's the waste getting from denim fabric, and that's what we have used. And the fabric which I'm using is actually the mask one, because when I pivoted my business model in 2020, I bought like more than 30-40 yard of fabric. And now we are not producing any mask, but we are reusing that fabric. And that's what you see in these products.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita, I just have a quick question for you. Thank you for your presentation. As you continue to scale and really grow, how are you planning to keep your social and environmental impact focus front and center. I know that that's a challenge for many companies as they scale. What ideas do you have around that?
So the first thing is that, as I said in my presentation, that we are a premium brand. And when people hear that, oh, they are premium brand, which means that packaging should be fancy, but we are not offering anything. We are actually, we do not have capital right now, but what we want to do, we want to put a tag here where we will give description about the product, how to wash it. Because currently we are not giving any brochure, any pamphlet with this product. We just want to be very straightforward. And that's what we call, we don't want to put any strings attached to the product. This directly goes in this compositable packaging bag, and this will disappear in 150 days. So you don't have to worry, because what we believe that at the end, all the packaging material will go into trash. So why don't we create something where you don't give a chance for customers to throw anything. So that's why again and again, I just want to show that we are in process to create that tag here. We will just stitch it here and people will come to know that who we are, who has created that product. And we proudly say that we are made in Kansas City.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love that. Do we have time for one more question?
You do.
Excellent. So I wanted to ask, you mentioned that you were finding seamstresses from refugee communities. And as you look to scale, can you talk to us about your outreach and your hiring processes and practices?
Yeah, I have collaborated with a few local NGOs, and what they do, they take care of these refugee immigrants. They train them with rightfully sewn, and they help them to find employment. Plus, they do vetting also, so that we don't have to worry about that. And every time I get only one question from those seamstresses that, hey, Anita, we don't want small orders. We want to get more income. Can you just give us more orders? And to be honest, I do not have more orders because we do not get a single order from our website. Because we do not have that capital to do it, because it's a self-funded. I just work 8 to 5 job. That's what I invest in this.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Any other last
Yep.
questions from the judges?
I got one last
Go ahead,
question.
Tony, please.
Yeah, have you looked at shelf space, so to speak, with like Made in Kansas City stores, and there's several of those and different things like that? Or are you going to do everything purely online, right?
We have actually talked to them, and they were interested in our dog bandanas because we created a few dog bandanas, but I didn't hear back from them. But there are local shops who have really loved our product, and they are selling our product, and people are loving it. Means, yeah, we have collaborated with local stores in Kansas City.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Awesome. Giselle, any last questions?
Nothing else from me. Thank you so much, Anita.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita. Awesome job. And I love the fact that it expires in 150 days. My kids are going crazy because they claim that we are wasting way too much. So thank you so much for that presentation. You have set the bar high for our next person. So next up, with 3 minutes to present, is Sunshine Box. And I'm pleased to present Connor Hazelrig. Hopefully I said that right. And she will present portable solar charging stations that can charge 10 devices at a time, providing access to cell phones in emerging countries. And if you joined us for the summit, you'll know she was an amazing panelist. So I'm so excited for her presentation. Connor, welcome, and please get started.
Thank you, Melissa. Like she said, I'm Connor Hazelrig. I'm the founder of 1773 Innovation Co. and the inventor of the Sunshine Box. On the next slide, you'll actually see a picture of the Sunshine Box in use. It's a solar paneled cell phone charging device, like Melissa said, that's been designed to help bridge the energy gap in developing countries for people who own cell phones but don't have access to electricity. In the 25 poorest countries, that problem actually exists for about 95 million people. And so our business model is to sell these boxes to nonprofit organizations, mission group, charitable organizations, to set up these boxes with agents. And then these agents operate the box as a full-time job selling that electricity. So our current business model is just that initial sale, and we're currently building an app-based payment system to go in the Sunshine Box so that when somebody wants to use it, we'll be able to track that information, that data, and actually take a small percentage of every transaction that goes through the box. And the reason that's important, we'll talk about on the next slide, looking at the market of charging cell phones. So charging cell phones in the 25 poorest countries is about a $4.3 billion industry. So through our research of current Sunshine Boxes in the field, we found that the average lifetime value of a customer is about $2,400. And that's just through 25-cent transactions every time they want to charge their cell phone. So it's really important for us to switch that business model so that we can tap into this completely untapped industry, because there's only 2 other companies in the world doing something similar. These countries wholly focus on one country though, and we're looking at this from a global perspective. Our product's also made in the United States and has its UL certification for safety. You'll see some of the additional markets that we've tapped into a little bit, but going forward, we really want to expand how we implement these boxes. On the next slide, we'll talk about our team. So I founded this company in 2015 as an undergraduate student. I earned a mathematics and physics undergraduate and then went on to earn an MBA. But the idea of wanting to understand the intrinsic value of the cell phone in developing countries really led me to start this company. And so to scale it, we like to partner with other organizations to help streamline our operations. So we have a contract with UPS for logistics, Sunshine Electronic Displays, our manufacturer, and then we've also partnered with other organizations to help distribute the box. So on the next slide, we'll be able to see some of the impact, our financials. And so these are the financials that we have currently just from that initial sale of the box. Our biggest goal is to finish that app-based payment system so that we can increase our revenue. You can see what it would be with those boxes. On the next slide, you'll be able to see what our impact has been to date. And then finally, I just want to recap on the final slide that the Sunshine Box has a 2-fold impact by providing jobs and access to electricity. We can be the first to market by tapping into that $4.3 billion industry. And with that app-based payment system, we're really able to bring a higher level of transparency into the impact and what we're able to accomplish around the world. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Ford Fund in 1863.
Awesome job. Great. And I love the product. I'm going to turn it over to the judges. So we're going to welcome them back and see what questions they have. And they have 5 minutes.
I'll jump in because I'm fascinated by this. How did you originally target the business that, in terms of the developing nations, et cetera? So what drew you into that? Was that a personal experience or something else?
Yeah, so a friend of mine actually came back from Haiti after the earthquake and said, everyone has cell phones, no one has electricity. And as a student studying math and physics, I was very much in the problem solving, just wanted to solve a problem. And so I really just thought, okay, well, why don't I create a solution? I started reading books like White Man's Burden, The Bottom Billion, to understand what it was like to live in a developing country. And so I was doing an internship actually at Sunshine Electronic Display, and with their amazing team, we designed and invented the Sunshine Box as a part of my final project of the internship that kind of bridged that gap for these people who live in impoverished both money and energy countries.
So as you scale, or as you looked at other market opportunities, I mean, like I was thinking, well, I could use one of these on a family vacation really bad. There's obviously a lot of opportunity. Where do you see yourself going from there?
Yeah, we have actually rented them out for like camping, tailgating, some of that type of stuff. But when I think about the mission and the values of the company really embedded into those developing countries, okay. It's really focusing on what they need and iterating, testing, redesigning based on their need. And so unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot of growth in providing access to electricity in developing countries. From a global standpoint, each country has its own traction. But until there's been traction there and there's a need for the Sunshine Box, we're just going to continue to make that product and make it better and closer to what they need.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Connor, go ahead, Lauren.
No, go ahead.
Hey, Connor, so I'm really curious to learn more about how the app-based payment system is going to work. Can you walk us a little through that?
Absolutely. So the idea of the app-based payment system came about when we were talking to the agents, and they said that they were becoming targets for robbery because they were taking payments in cash. And so really trying to help find a way to securely pay them. So right now, When someone goes up and pays cash, we want to eliminate that transaction from being in cash. And so when somebody goes up to the box now, we want them to just send a text message or hop on an app and click pay right to that box that's in front of them. And so then through their account, it would deduct the money and then the port would turn on. And so our prototype's already been built. It works great. It's just a matter of actually implementing it on a global scale. So then we're able to track those customers. So if it's through a text message or an app, we can see how many times a customer's going, what boxes they're going to, how much they're paying. So the app actually, when I talked about that transparency of metrics, we're going to be able to quantify truly my whole initial goal of understanding what the intrinsic value of a cell phone is in these developing countries. So it's just trying to streamline, you can think about Venmo when you're paying somebody back for buying Taco Bell late at night, just try to make that type of similar transaction.
And will the user have to have access to a financial institution in order to receive that payment then in cash? Is that how it will work?
So from an app-based system right now, yes. But we're also making a text-based system as our backup for countries that don't have access to financial institutions. Most of those countries have partnered their cell phone providers with institutions so that people can have access to mobile or digital wallets on their cell phone through another data component. And if we have that text message system as a backup, then we'll also be able to take payments via text message through the phone provider. So we're trying to cover both.
Wonderful. And how long do you think it will take you to actually have that app developed?
So we have the prototype of the hardware and software developed. Now it's just a matter of switching it, getting it to actually work in the countries. And so obviously you've probably seen the uprising of riots in Haiti right now. And so it's a little hard and scary to think about going back at the moment and trying to find where to test that. So testing, it's really the biggest component that we're stuck at right now.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have so many questions, but
You have time for 2 to 3.
Darn it. Okay. I'll try to keep it brief. So one of the questions that I want to ask is you keep on talking about like this redesigning, reiteration, development process that you go through to make the product work for the people who are going to be using it, like human-centered design. Can you talk to us about some of your methodologies, like your philosophy, how you have worked with folks on the ground to create a better solution for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lauren. It's all about listening, right? It's when we hear something's not working or something as simple as, hey, it's really hard to carry the sunshine box with the handles on the long side. If you put it on the short side, it's easier to carry. And so, that's some of the feedback that we've gotten. And you can, in the pictures you probably saw, they were on the long side. And so it's a big deal to us to now switch that design to figure out how to put them on the short side to make it easier for the people. And so that's just one example of feedback that we've gotten and that we felt like was a valid decision to make. I mean, you can get all sorts of absurd requests, adding all sorts of different things, but it's really about understanding who and why and just listening to what they want. And so that's kind of how I go about the feedback and iteration process, is just listening.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna squeak in and ask another one. So I'm really curious. You talk about operators, and this is really an opportunity for some economic independence for these operators. But can you tell us a little bit about the deployment process? Like, how do you train the folks who will be deploying these in different countries, how to care for the box, how to safely, access communities and take it around, things like that?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because it's the other way around. I mean, I'm not familiar with their communities. I'm not familiar with how these people always operate. And so that's why we really rely on the nonprofits that we work with to help us understand who these people are that we need to target. And we kind of just facilitate the technical side of it. We have a manual that we've created that allows somebody to troubleshoot, fix, do different things to the boxes if they need without having to read, write, or speak English. And so we're really trying to make sure that we're not having an independence back on us, and that when we give them the sunshine box, they feel empowered to be, a small entrepreneur in their own way and sell that electricity to the people they know that are in need.
Lauren, here's a follow-up, because I was thinking along the same
Hey,
lines.
you got to make it quick because y'all are way over.
Barriers to entry, right? Do the nonprofits take care of that? I mean, you kind of had, going to some of these countries you're going into, had some interesting conversations on government regulation or government being worried about what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera.
I have taken the philosophy of say sorry instead of asking for permission when it comes to government stuff. And Now that we're being recorded, I don't necessarily want to talk too much more about it, but we're small enough at the moment
Understood.
that we haven't had a whole lot of issues with government. Obviously, taking the boxes through TSA, flying them in, we've had a few things get held up, but working with customs has not been a big issue so far.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I love that. To ask for forgiveness, not permission. Love it. That's like the woman's motto. I love it. Thank you, Connor. Awesome presentation, as expected. Appreciate it. I am pleased to have next up Lisa Reagan with Safely Delicious. She provides allergy-friendly snacks, and it's free of the top 11 food allergens that many of us are experiencing, and they're vegan. And personally, let me just say how I'm excited about this. My product, my daughter is vegan and gluten-free, so this is exciting. Can't wait. Take it away, Safely Delicious.
I'm still videoed. I can't, it won't let me start the video.
Stand by. So for those of you in the audience, don't fret, we'll get this worked out. But because there's a video, so it takes a little bit more, but you have heard some amazing presentations. So remember, there is a chance at the end for you to vote for an audience award. And this seems like the perfect time to share just a little bit more about how all of this actually evolves. Every time HI-HERImpact enters a new city, the first thing that we do is we form an advisory committee. And I'm proud to say that we had an amazing advisory committee in Kansas City. And I'll tell you about who they were in a minute, but let me tell you about the prizes while you're thinking about this. So one of the things they decided was that there's a lot of entrepreneurship happening, particularly amongst women. And it was a great way to not just give one award or two awards, but we have multiple awards. We have 2 awards that the judges will decide for $5,000. We have an award for $25,000 and an award for $10,000 that the judges will decide. And you in the audience, all of you get to choose who is the audience or people's prize. And that business will get $5,000. So I hope that you have been paying attention and taking notes and all those good things so that you are able to decide who you think should get that $5,000. Are we ready for Safely Delicious?
I think so. I'm ready.
Awesome. Take it away. You have 3 minutes and I can't wait to learn more.
All right. Hello, my name is Lisa Reagan and I am the founder and owner of Safely Delicious. I am a mom of 4 kids who have multiple food allergies. Start next slide. Can we start over? I thought it would just start right there. I'm sorry. Can we start over, please?
Okay, I will pause. Well, let's see if we can pause the clock and reset it, and we'll give you.
I thought as soon as I said my name, it would go to that slide, so I apologize.
Oh no, I think you have to direct.
Every
So.
slide I have to say, okay, sorry.
Yep, it's all good. It's all good. All right, you ready?
Okay, ready?
Okay, go.
Hi, my name is Lisa Reagan, and I am the founder and owner of Safely Delicious. I'm a mom of 4 kids who have multiple food allergies. I've been cooking allergen-free since 2004, not wanting my kids or any other kids who had food allergies to feel excluded and left out at school activities, birthday parties, and social events. I would create snacks that looked and tasted similar to what the other kids were eating, but was still safe and delicious and free of the food allergens they needed to avoid. In 2015, I started the company Safely Delicious. Next. Safely Delicious offers one-of-a-kind snacks in the allergy-friendly food space. The 2 lines of snacks we offer is Snack Bites, which is a toasted rice cereal base that's made with different chocolates and a variety of flavors. And then our newest product line we released earlier this year was our line of savory medley snacks. The first one we released was called KC Style as a tribute to our Kansas City roots, as where our business is located. Our products are free of the top 11 food allergens. They're gluten-free, vegan, low sodium, cholesterol-free, high in iron. There's nothing artificial, no preservatives, and you can find our products in almost 200 locations around the United States and online. And some of those places you might be familiar with are the Ball Foods, Hen House Markets, and Price Choppers here locally and surrounding areas, Cosentino's Markets, they're Price Choppers, and then over 100 locations of the Hy-Vee grocery stores both locally and throughout the Midwest. Next, please. There's about 160 million shoppers are seeking non-allergen foods here in the United States. 85 million of them are due to health concerns for themselves or family members. 75 million of them avoid for non-dietary reasons such as religious lifestyles, etc. There's 1 in 13 kids, or basically 2 in every classroom, that have food allergies this day. Our market is going to be people that have food allergies, GI issues, celiac disease, brain spectrum disorders, or just want a healthier snack. Next, please. Our team is comprised of an amazing group of people that all help with production, packaging, in addition to the other talents they have that they're able to share with Safely Delicious. Next. Regarding our finances, our business have been growing steadily each year until a slight setback last year due to COVID. However, we have rebounded in full force and to date are up 27%, with our projections of being at 49% growth by the end of 2021. Our margins are great with our online business, wholesale, and our distributors. And our goal for our business is, as we are continuing to grow and there seems to be an increasing demand for our products, we are needing to move into a larger commercial facility and hire more people so we can keep up with this increasing demand for our products. In summary, we have no direct competitors. We're the only company with a rice-based snack bite, free of the top 11 food allergens and vegan. Our snacks look and taste like other non-allergen snacks, but no one can tell the difference because they're that delicious. We offer a solution for those limited by their food allergies. We want everyone to feel included. And there's such a great demand and lots of opportunities for our products. We just need some capital and resources so we can scale our business, take it to the next level, and have people get our products. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Before I pass it to the judges, I just want to shout you out, but also acknowledge all of you all that you made it through COVID. So I just hope that the audience understands that. So congratulations to you. It's great to see you. And I love the products behind you. I'm going to turn it over to our judges. What do you have for Lisa?
I've been going first every time. Go ahead, Lauren. I know you're dying to ask the question.
You know what? I was actually just wanting to say that having tried Safely Delicious products, I can tell you that the second half of the name is accurate.
I'm curious about your product development. How do you choose how you're going to develop a product or what you're targeting in terms of your product development? How do you go about that?
So our first product, our Classic Bites, had actually been a product that I used to make for my kids like 17 years ago. I kind of looked at what other kids were eating as similar snack and then found all the non-allergen ingredients to kind of make it up. And so then when I had taken it to work years ago and people thought I bought it somewhere and suggested I should sell it, I thought, okay, why not? All the other products that have come out of that one product have been flavors and combinations that honestly have been suggested by my kids, family, and friends that are like, oh, what if you made this flavor or that flavor or whatever? And so, but every product we make, then I need to develop a new, I personally will create a new recipe for that particular product. Then a few years back when we were first releasing all these different products, I was still working a full-time job over at St. Michael's, and I would take in like 3 to 5 different versions of a snack, and I'd put them in containers, unmarked, and I'd have like 100 different people from all their different departments and offices would come and they would taste test everything. And I would get feedback that way to then determine, had we nailed that flavor, that taste, the consistency, all that. And so that was also another channel, if you will, of how I determined what we were going to release and if the recipe nailed it. Or like our lemony bites took about 4 attempts before it finally was ready to go to market. My son was like the first, like, Mom, this tastes like soap. And I'm like, not going for that taste. So it took us a few times to do that. The Casey style one, the newest one released this year, that had been one that I've just wanted to do, honestly, since the beginning. We started out with the sweet and crunchy idea. I like more of a savory, salty snack. That's kind of my thing, but trying to find the right ingredients that would meet all of our guidelines. They're coming from facilities that, again, we are using ingredients that they also are coming from commercial facilities, that there's no cross-contamination issues, there's no allergens, all that kind of stuff. So it took us a while and that took me honestly about, I want to say 4 months of testing and experimenting and trying to find the right taste combination of the right ingredients and then what seasonings to use and that sort of thing. And the Kansas City thing was kind of our thing. We kept kind of going back to a certain taste that kind of had a barbecue-y taste to it that we were like, okay, this is the story about our Casey style and how we can kind of pay tribute to where we all started. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lisa, question. You mentioned that you don't have any competitors. Can you talk a little bit more about what differentiates your product from others that are in the market?
Sure. So when I say we don't have any direct competitors, what I mean is our snack bites, they are unique in that there is no other allergy-friendly company that makes a snack like our snack. So all of the other companies that would be in this allergy-friendly food space make cookies, crackers, chips, things like that. But when it comes to our snack bites products, we are the only company that has this toasted rice cereal-based snack that's made with the chocolates and all the different varieties of flavors. So, and then the same thing with our savory medley. There's lots of other allergy-friendly snack mixes in that sort, but ours is vegan, free of top 11. I mean, some of them will, be free of certain things, but they'll still have nuts in them, or they'll still have soy or whatever. So that's what differentiates us from even other allergy-friendly products, much less the ones that have allergens in them, is that those are the type of products we offer, and trying to grow this really fast as a little fish before a big fish eats me up and someone else starts doing it. So but we've got our little market. We've managed to corner it right now, and really our effort is to continue growing it and really blow this thing up in the next 6 to 12 months.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have we hit time?
You are good. So you, if you have
Okay.
multiple questions, you got about just under 2 minutes.
I just got one. So I just wanted to ask Lisa, you mentioned, if you were to receive, some of this money, this funding, that you would put a lot into hiring and basically scaling your ability to offer your product. So can you talk to us about your distribution strategy? Should you be able to rapidly expand?
Sure, absolutely. So right now, I personally do the distribution for 34 grocery stores here locally in Kansas City and surrounding areas. Yeah, so I'm doing that. Now the Hy-Vee, those grocery stores, they distribute themselves. So we build out that we produce it, package it, and then we take it to Old Dominion, they palletize it, they ship it to Iowa, and then they distribute it to Hy-Vee. The goal for us would be, in getting into a larger commercial facility, would be that first, I would not be the distributor anymore. I could actually hire a company else, but then we need to have a loading dock. Like where our business is, we don't have a loading dock. So I can't really have like semis come and pick it up and take it off to somewhere else. So I've got to continually take it somewhere else. The other thing with distribution, we are right now, I would love to start connecting and getting our products through a UNFI or a KHE, some of those bigger companies. Again, that requires us to be in a bigger facility where we can double, even triple the amount of production that we would need to do. And then the whole shipping component, again, we're getting ready, perfect example, we're getting ready to ship an order to Hy-Vee next week, and it's going to be 5 pallets of product. And that's going to take me a couple of trips driving, or I'm going to have to rent a truck to drive it over to Old Dominion so that we can ship it. So when it comes to the distribution of our products, we actually have quite a list of businesses that have sought us out and want to carry our products. And I've had to pull back because I physically don't have the space or enough people to do what they want to do for us. Like we have a meeting coming up in 2 weeks with United Airlines. And I'm like, great, but they might have to wait a few months before we can, move forward on that. So again, we've got some really big stuff that people are hearing about us and knowing about what we offer and what's different about our snacks. And so the money, if we were given some of this money, it would be a portion of the total amount I'm trying to raise right now, so I can move us into a larger facility in the next 6 to 12 months.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations, Lisa. Love the big plans. Great on the connections. And again, just great to see all of you all, not just surviving, but thriving post-COVID. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Of course. So we're going to move from food to fashion. Next, we have Deb North with Yes Athletics USA. Yes Athletics USA empowers young female athletes by creating feminine shoes for women and girls in non-traditional sports like wrestling, MMA, and powerlifting. I love it because I don't do any of those things. They look extremely fashionable as well. So join me in welcoming Deb. Deb, the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes to tell us all about Yes Athletics.
Can we start on the next slide, please? Thank you. Hi, my name is Deb North, and I'm the founder of Yes Athletics. I'm a widowed mom of three girls, ages 19, 14, and 11. On the next slide, you'll see the company overview and the history of our company. My youngest daughter, Annie, was the inspiration for this business. She wanted to try the sport of wrestling, and in order to do that, she was one of the only girls in the room. So that took a lot of bravery. So as a result, sometimes you have to say yes to really scary things. And so that's where the name of our company, Yes Athletics, came in. We formed our company in 2019, and through some due diligence, we were ready to launch and ship our first products in the fourth quarter of 2020. So yes, I started a business in the pandemic. Fourth quarter, we did over $2,000 in sales. To date, we have over $36,000 in sales. Wrestling is one of the fastest growing sports for girls, and it grows at a rate of over 28% year over year. Next slide, please. I am surrounded by a great group of board of advisors, from people I've worked with for years to people that I've identified that can help fill my knowledge gaps that I may have. Next slide, please. This is an amazing market. There's over 30,000 girls wrestling at the high school level, and probably an estimated another 30,000 wrestling at the youth level. As I mentioned, the sport is growing 20% year over year. Right now, there's around 80 colleges and universities with women's specific wrestling programs. And there's a huge push right now to have NCAA Division I colleges start wrestling programs for girls. I feel like we're different. We're going to be successful because we are so incredibly passionate about what we're doing and supporting the girls in this sport. We're very community minded. I sponsor two Special Olympics athletes that are power lifters. And we collaborated with Beat the Streets on a buy one, give one campaign in order to allow some of these inner city youth the opportunity to do sports when they may not have the resources to do that. Next slide, please. As you can see, we have been very successful so far. We were in the black just a few months into our business, and right now we are very close to break even. Our sales goal for 2021 is to do over $100,000. In 2022, we want to do around 250, and we want to do that by breaking into new markets such as colleges, high schools, as well as get on retail shelves. Next slide, please. To recap, I feel like we're very poised for success. I've been a successful entrepreneur for over 10 years. I've owned the executive search firm True North Consulting. I've surrounded myself with experts who fill my knowledge gaps. In order to use this funding, I would expand my marketing and hire a salesperson, as well as hire a full-time assistant. Thank you for your time today.
Awesome job, Deb, and thank you. And I know why you were able to get through so much so quickly is because you got all them kids. So congratulations to you and your business. I'm going to turn over to the judges to ask you questions. They have 5 minutes.
Hey, Tony, I'm going to go first.
Do it.
Deb, I love that picture of you and your daughters. What a great picture.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, for those of us that are not too familiar with wrestling, what is the difference between, or what makes the shoes that you've developed for women so different from what's in the market now?
So, well, I can show you some.
Yeah.
They're cute. They're pink. They're purple. Right now the girls have to buy boy shoes in boy sizes, and they're the traditional black and white that you would see. So my shoes are sized specifically for girls and in appealing colors.
Great, thank you. And I did have another question as it pertains to your impact model. How are you achieving both social impact and financial sustainability? Can you talk a little bit more about how you're supporting your social impact?
I'm a big believer in putting good karma out there, and I'm just so passionate about this. So knowing that there's other markets besides wrestling, such as the powerlifting, I reached out to Special Olympics and I'm supporting these two athletes that are going to be going to nationals. I'm so excited. They have singlets and shoes. The Beat the Streets campaign was so exciting. It was great to meet some of the girls that have benefited from this and have come up through that program. So I think that doing positive community impact will increase sales. And I think that's what differentiates me. I'm not just here to make a dollar. I am truly passionate about this and want to help these kids and girls.
Thank you.
Tony, do you, beyond the shoes, do you have other marketing plans, other product plans?
Right. So I am in collaboration with Lee Janes. She was she got third in Worlds, and she makes singlets for me, made specifically for girls. I eventually want to get into other markets for other emerging sports, such as flag football. I've been told golf doesn't have great women's shoes, basketball. So there's a lot of sports right now that are very male dominated that women want to do, that there's opportunities there. But these shoes specifically, yes, the main target is wrestling, but I have an MMA athlete that I sponsor, powerlifting, like I mentioned. I even have a girl that wrote a review. She uses them to ride her motorcycle. So there's a lot of suburban housewives that use them for their kickboxing classes. So wrestling is the main target, but there's all kinds of other people buying and wearing my shoes.
And do you, in the competition, I mean, obviously, because I have had two young ladies, that my wife and I raised, and they were involved in a lot of sports. I understand, because there was always a question about, why can't I get this in something I like, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sport was. Do you think the competition will come fast and furious? I mean, you're obviously.
Yeah, it's funny.
You gotta find somebody to make yourself identifiable, right?
Right. So I launched in October. I was the first to market with girls' shoes specifically for wrestling. ASICS just launched one this month, and they're saying they're the first to market. I know it's coming, but that's where being community-minded and passionate is going to differentiate me. I mean, yes, they're bigger brands. Yes, they have deeper pockets, but there's more to this business than just selling shoes.
Yeah, I mean, you got to create it's about brand, right? You got to create a brand.
Yeah, Deb, that was absolutely amazing. And I got to tell you, every athlete knows that if you don't wear proper equipment, you get hurt. And so I think, you're doing really amazing work to support these athletes. So thank you for that. So my question is related to that. I'm going to piggyback off of that social impact piece. Like you're very community minded, and I know that. But tell us how you have made that a part of your brand identity. Like, talk about your community involvement and things like that.
I mean, I think it just comes from being passionate about it, and identifying these organizations like Beat the Streets. I mean, the timing that I was introduced to them was around Giving Tuesday, right after Black Friday. So it just worked out amazing. These kids can change the trajectory of their life if they get involved in sports. For those of us that have been involved in sports, or our kids are involved in sports, we know the positive impact it has, especially right now. There's such a conversation around mental health and sports. So getting these kids to change their trajectory and not letting history repeat itself is just phenomenal. And if I can be a part of that, I would love to be a part of that.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, judges. And thank you, Deb.
Thank you for your time today.
I love it. And I wish you continued success regardless. That was just awesome. So appreciate you doing what you're doing. Thank you. And who says business can't do good? I am thrilled to introduce our next presenter. Her name is Jill Bertelsen, and she is the founder of Bertelsen Education. And she engages individuals in self-paced education training for child care providers. And if you have kids, man, do we love you for sure. Can't wait to hear more. You are up and you have 3 minutes to share your story.
Great. You can hear me?
We can.
Okay. It takes a village to raise a child. Daycare providers and parents need to work together for the healthy development of our children. Often, parents and childcare providers are not on the same page, and this makes it inconsistent, but sometimes they even work against each other. Let me give you an example that's easy to see. Let's take potty training. If the daycare is potty training using marshmallows and stickers every time they go to the bathroom, and parents at home don't believe in external rewards, the child is going to take a lot longer to get potty trained and be very confused. Inconsistency between where the child spends 8 hours a day and their home has long-term consequences. Bertelsen Education supports families and childcare providers through online continuing education, making it so childcare providers and parents are learning the same things from the same platform. On our next slide, you'll see that that's not the only problem. Last year, 1 in 5 childcare jobs were lost during the pandemic. Each year, every daycare provider needs to get required continuing education to renew their license. That's 20% of the industry that's being hired and in need of training. We have an interactive platform with discussion boards, activities, and we offer parenting courses and resources. We began in April of 2020 and spent the year building up our content and became internationally accredited in December. Since then, we've been approved in 36 states and have generated about $20,000 worth of sales. On our next slide, you'll see that there are over 1 million childcare providers in the US. Our annual membership is $149. If we got 1% of the market share, that would be almost $2 million of revenue each year. Our goal is to have 10% of the market share by the end of 2031. That would be $17 million a year of continual revenue. On the next slide, you'll see that Bertelsen Education invests in women leaders. 5 out of 6 of our executive team and 20 out of our 25 instructors are women. Women who are working in their individual fields and have knowledge to contribute and uplift other women through education. On our next slide, you'll see that $39 billion have just been dedicated to the childcare industry in the American Rescue Plan. As you see, there's a large jump in revenue in just this next year. This will be through the securement of government contracts. Our goal is to have 6 government contracts in 12 months from now, making our revenue $300,000. In order to do so, we'll need to translate our courses into Spanish and hire a procurement specialist. On the last slide, you'll see a recap. There's 20% of the industry that's in need of required training. Parents and childcare providers are often working against each other instead of supporting one another. This creates inconsistency of care, and our children suffer because of it. We have the content, the accreditation, and the state approvals. With your help through funding, we'll be able to translate our courses into Spanish and hire a procurement specialist to help close these government contracts. Together, we can strengthen our children's village.
Wonderful job. And as a parent of 6 kids, boy, are your services needed. All right, I'm going to turn it over to the judges to see what questions they have for you for the next 5 minutes.
Hi, Jill. Thank you for that. I'll go first again, Tony. So I do have a question about your impact model. It's not completely clear to me what the social or environmental problem you're trying to solve is. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So in childcare, every childcare provider needs to get required continuing education every year. And often what happens at daycare is not communicated at home, or at home it's not communicated at daycare. And so really strengthening the families by giving the same kind of education to both the parents and the daycare providers, creating that consistency of care for kids.
And that is done because of the certification, because I was thinking it's the kind of same thing Giselle was thinking. I'm trying to understand. Obviously, okay. It's not on the sustainability side. It's on the family side. So that brings them. That makes sure there's a consistent care on an ongoing basis.
That's a great question. Thanks for rephrasing that. Now I understand a little bit more. So the continuing education, they're required. It's not for a certificate. They just need to get us X amount of hours of training every year. So they're not getting certified. It's just something they have to do every year. And parents actually get these resources for free when a center has an annual membership. So it allows daycare providers to give their parents free potty training classes, free sleep coaching classes, free baby sign classes, child development, all these different, we even have like a development delays autism specialist on there. So parents can hop on there, ask questions, and be learning the same things from our same instructors, but a parenting version of it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So that helps align not only the daycare providers, but the parents, so they're basically aligned on what all the opportunities are to provide for the child.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So Jill, do you use any particular, pedagogy in your trainings? Like, do you have different scaffolded learning opportunities or curricula? Like, where are you getting your methodology from?
Oh, that's a great question. I mentioned it just briefly in the presentation, but we did get internationally accredited in December of 2020, which is required in quite a few states. And throughout that accreditation process, we created certain standards for our instructors and our content that's released. It's hard to have a specific methodology that applies across the board because there's potty training and there's preschool preparation and there's, outdoor play. But all of our instructors are qualified through at least 3 years of work experience and have bachelor's or certain credentials. And all of our classes have that kind of research background, sources, things like that.
Okay. Awesome. And I do have one more question. So when you're talking about kind of daycare providers and parents working together, what's the user experience like? Like you approach a daycare and you say, hey, we have this platform that's going to help get parents on the same page with you. And then they reach out to the parents to say, would you like to engage in this? Like, what does the process look like?
Oh, excellent question. So our buyer changes from state to state. In some states, it's like the Department of Work, like the workforce department. I don't know why I'm forgetting the word right now, but like the workforce, it's the daycare owner. However, it's bought. We do our continuing education in the daycare center, and then we give actual marketing materials to the daycare owner to give to parents. So we give them a flyer, an email that they can put into their newsletter. I mean, they drop off their kids and pick up their kids every day. So it's very common for them to give them a newsletter or flyer, or you see it on a poster, and they have instructions of how to get on there and access the app and the website.
So who is your competition then in this space? I mean, I'm thinking back like parents as teachers, but you're like parents as teachers on steroids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good. So there are other online continuing education companies.
Right.
And there are kind of those free resources, I would say, for like low income families for parents. I have not yet seen someone put both of those together.
That's what I was going to say.
And
I
that's
haven't
really
seen
our
that
mission.
myself. I've seen somebody bring those two things together. It's an interesting combination.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts, the kid spends 50 hours a week in daycare, and the rest of the time at home, there needs to be consistency. And that's what brought the idea and that mission.
Thank
We
you.
have time for one more question. One more. Tony, if you have one, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So what is the age group again? And how do you got to be thinking much differently as the ages they advance. So how do you create a curriculum that, plays off of itself as you go along, right? Does that happen naturally because of the agencies and everybody you work with, or is that something you got to develop, I guess?
Kind of both. Some states have like required training, like safe sleep, for example. They have to, if you take care of kids under 12 months, you have to take a safe sleep course to know how to, keep the crib safe and things like that. Then there's potty training, and then there's just kind of different developmental milestones. So creating the daycare part of it is actually pretty simple because you have required topics, and we have over 25 instructors creating content for us. So a lot of times they bring in ideas too. And then it's the parenting versions. We have just been testing with kind of seeing what parents are asking on our community. We have like a app where they can ask questions. And so we're kind of seeing what questions are they asking and then asking that instructor to tailor a course for them.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Great question. Thanks, Tony.
Great job, Jill. Thank you. Love that you're taking care of them kids. Better you than me. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. Once you have 6, you're done. So thank you. I know how those child care providers are feeling right about now. Let me just take a minute to let people know the chat is there. So cheer people on. Ask questions. We have one more presenter. And when that is done, excuse me, our judges will go off and decide who wins. We will give you a chance and we will open up the audience voting. And then while you're voting and the judges are deliberating, we're going to have a conversation with all of these amazing women to learn more about their businesses, their motivation, and most importantly, how you can help them. So keep going in the chat, keep it active. These women deserve your support. They want to hear from you. And also, like I said, tee up some questions, and I'm happy to ask them during our interview process. So last, but certainly not least, I want to introduce you to Kelsey Clayton. She runs K. Clayton Studio. And part of what she does is that she provides fun, creative arts and crafts classes for all ages and abilities. I'm so glad you said abilities, because I probably would have aged out, but my ability probably looks like a 6-year-old. So pleasure to have you. Can't wait to hear your presentation. You have 3 minutes and you can start when you are ready.
All right. I have had 2 passions in my life, being a teacher and being creative. And during our pandemic that we're still going through, I, like most people, turned to my creative side to help with my self-care and to help calm my anxieties. I was teaching virtual kindergarten, and I also have 2 small kids of my own, and I just started thinking about how I could share this with our community in Kansas City. Being a teacher for the past 10 years, I've always loved walking people through the process of skills that they think are too difficult for them, or they want to try something but they're not sure where to even start. And through that, K. Clayton Studio was born. And here is a place for me to share my 2 passions, teaching and creating. Here we are all about taking chances, making messes, and trying new things. On the next slide, you will see that we opened in October of 2020, and since then we have taught 150 creative events. We've had over 500 participants, and really the problem we've solved most is when people come in, they have a big open space they can use, they have the materials they need, and they have assistance as well. You can come in and create 3 different ways. We have our open create, we have our artist-led workshops, and then of course our celebrations and private events. On the next page, you will see, that our main goal is to really help our Kansas City community connect with our creative community. We have so many amazing Kansas City artists and makers, and being able to have them teach their passion has been so rewarding for our studio. We have only been able to market through social media and have been able to reach 4% of our potential customers. And so we would like to invest in advertisement outside of social media to help increase our reach within our demographic by 10%. On the next page, you will see that our team is small, but it is mighty, and our most important is our local artists. And they bring so much to our space. Next page, please. Our financials we have been doing well, but we need to make our classes bigger and be able to add more to our space. We've been able to partner with Girl Scouts. Sorry.
Finish your sentence.
We've been able to partner with the Girl Scouts and becoming community partners with them. And we've also been able to accommodate classes for our deaf community.
Awesome. And what a great note to end on. Great presentation. I'm going to invite the judges to come on in and ask you some questions for the next 5 minutes.
I'll go. I'm just curious, as you look to create brand identity, right? What makes your experience different from a lot of the other type of experiential learning experiences, arts, et cetera, that you see? What gives you identity?
So there are creative places around Kansas City, but a lot of them are focused on one type and is very curated. So like you go in and there's like one specific project you can choose from, or only do pottery or you only do canvas work. And here we really pride ourselves on the variety that we offer. You can come in here with your own plan, your own idea, or you can take one of our plans as well. And our workshops are a little bit of everything. We've had soap making, we've had cookie decorating, we've had wood burning, we've had all sorts of artists come and share their talents with us, and it's been really cool to connect our community with them.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kelsey. So how do you, I guess, what kind of feedback or how do you find ideas for workshops?
Yes. So one, I stalk Instagram a lot, but I kind of find people in our Kansas City Makers groups and hashtags and see what is trending really, and find people that are wanting to share that skill with others. So a lot of times they come to me now, but I've also seeked them out. I've had like Brittany Bloom's Casey, she does these beautiful floral arrangements that she came to me and asked if she could host a workshop with us. And we've done, I think, like 3 or 4 with her, and she's sold like 24 seats in most of her classes. So we're doing, it's been, I guess the best part is the passion that our artists are showing for what they're doing has really created this experience that makes people want to come and try more.
Awesome, thank you.
Kelsey, who is your customer? Are you targeting school-age children, or are you targeting adults? You talked a lot about events. Are you targeting those type of experiences for large group gatherings? Like, what is your ideal customer?
Yes. So being a teacher, the kid aspect has been the most strong through our pandemic. I found that like a lot of parents were willing to, we've been able to provide a safe space for our kids to come in. They've had their masks on. My tables are nice and spread out. Like each person that comes here gets their own space, their own material. So we've really been able to give that feeling of being safe during a pandemic. But yes, so families really is our main like target. We have like an aspect that is targeting the children, like with our kids watercolor class, our creative kids club. We've had a lot of art camps this summer. And we also have an opportunity to create a curriculum for the homeschool community when school starts. But I don't want to only be kids. So usually on the weekends, we have our workshops that are targeted more for adults and people that want to try something as on their own. So sometimes those moms need to get away, or I've had a lot of like date nights where people come out, husband and wife or girlfriend, boyfriend, and come and create together as well.
Kelsey, can you tell us, you've talked about a lot of different customers that you would like to see come through your doors. Can you talk to us a little bit about your marketing strategies up to this point? Like, how have you been attracting folks?
Yes. So, and I would say our marketing is the place we need the most help with, but we've focused mostly on our social media, and we've started brand new in October of last year, and we're now up to, I think, almost 900 followers. But recently we've been getting our marketing out through Macaroni Kids, Casey Mom Collective, Casey Monard Kids, for just our kid based programs that we have here. But we're just interviewed for Voyage Casey, and we've had other influencers like the socialite Casey also came to a class and did a write-up for us as well. So that's pretty much all we've been able to do at this moment, which is why we want to invest in more.
Any idea on what kind of repeat business you're getting? What's that kind of a take rate? And does it come from what segments of your business?
Yes. So our returning customer, so our average transaction is $88 right now, and we have a return rate of 14%. And when they return, they spend an average of $120.
Wow.
And we do have a retail shop here that is featured. It only has local Kansas City artists and makers items in our space as well. I felt like during the pandemic, oh, sorry.
I was saying, you sell their artwork, or do you sell materials and others to take home and do artwork at home and those type of things?
A little bit of both, but mostly just their items. Like Melissa does our soap making classes, but she also sells her soap as well. And so we have her items in our shop, and like Detour Goods, we have like a little bit of everything here for as a good kind of like gift shop-ish kind of feel. Like if you want to shop local, we have those things here.
Is that consignment, or do you buy them and mark them up?
No, they put their things here, and then we take 20% of their sales for the month.
It's a consignment arrangement. They put it there, and you get a markup for the space. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. But there is no like rent per se. I found that was the hardest part as being a new artist. Is a lot of places you had to put a lot of money in, or you have to have a new tent, and you have to have tables, and you have to have like lots of stuff to just get started. So it was important to me to be able to support our local artists.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Great presentation. Love your background. Love that. Love that.
Thanks.
And Kelsey will be back in a second. So what's going to happen now? So hopefully you all were paying attention, because you're going to get a chance to vote. But the judges, Lauren, Giselle, and Tony, are going to go off to a little secret spot, do some calculations, figure out who their winner is. And the best part is you get to figure out who you want to win. So we're going to have the panelists come back. But before I do that, let me tell you how you get to vote. So how you get to vote is you get to text your vote to 415-233-4831. You text your vote 415-233-4831. You can use your mobile phone. And once you text that, if you like Anita and the sustainable wear, text 1. If you like Connor and what she's doing with the Sunshine Box for people all over the world, you text 2. If you were as excited as I was about Lisa Reagan and her Safely Delicious Food, text 3. If you really dug those sneakers and any other Yes Athletic programs, text 4 for Deb North. If you love Kay Clayton, God bless her for working with them kids, text 5. And also in the spirit of helping all ages and all abilities like myself, text 6 if you want to vote for Jill. So take your time to vote. I know you can multitask. So while you're voting, we're going to bring back all of the presenters so that we can learn just a little bit more about them. Because this is not just about giving away money, but it's really how do you support local entrepreneurs in your ecosystem. So we're going to get them back. So I encourage you to use the chat to drop your questions in, and I will be sure to ask them. Of course, I have some of my own, but make sure that you vote. So let's get all the panelists back, and then we will be able to have a great conversation. And Lauren, you should be gone with the judges. I know you're always trying to sneak. She loves her entrepreneurs. All right, so welcome back. All the entrepreneurs, I'm going to ask you to join me. Take yourselves off of you can put yourselves on video now. No one's going to bother you. Connor, come on and join us. Great to see you again. Lisa, awesome job. Anita, can we get you back? You can even keep your outfit on if you want. We don't mind if you keep it on. It's awesome. Deb, we can get you to come back too. That would be good. All right, look at that. So first of all, let me just say congratulations, ladies. You all did a great job. So we realized that I've been checking the chat, and I'd say we've got a couple of different types of folks in the audience. We have a lot of folks who want to cheer you on and support you. So I'm going to ask you about that. We have a lot of folks who are fellow entrepreneurs, and they are definitely rooting for you because they know how hard this past year has been. And then we've got some folks who out there are like, I think I might want to be an entrepreneur, and I'm really trying to understand the social entrepreneur space. So I want to cover all of those in our brief time together. So I'm going to call on each of you. You may not all get the same question, but I'm going to make sure everybody gets to participate. So Connor, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about why you even came into this. And what is probably the biggest lesson you've learned, particularly because you're working internationally?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's my passion. So when I was a student learning about math and physics, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so when my friend came back from Haiti and told me about it, it sparked something in me that I didn't know I had. And so I've just started to follow that dream and that passion. And it's just manifested so much joy and inspiration for me. And so, kind of to transition into something else you touched on, like if somebody's thinking about being a social entrepreneur, like find what that fire is, find what, you're passionate about, that you're happy to go and do every day, even when it seems hard. Right. And so for me, it's what fuels me. It's what inspires me to be better.
That is awesome, and you guys are doing it. Anita, I'm curious. Are you a chef, or how did you even come into this? Because I don't cook, but I'm willing to stand there and look good. So I'd love to know how you got into this.
So actually, in 2019, I started a marketplace for remote artists for developing and developed countries who are not able to showcase their handmade products on international platform. But then due to COVID, everything changed, and I pivoted my business model in 2020, January, where I saw that there were like people losing jobs, and they were dependent on the jobs. If they will go to work, then only they're going to earn. So that is how this idea came, that why don't I create something and it will help them to earn some money. So that's what we started with, making masks, and we have donated actually in hundreds of masks to people. And then what is next? So I thought there has to be something, because we wanted to sustain this pandemic, and that's how it all started. I love cooking, and I really wanted my whole family cooks. So that's how it all started, that there was not an apron with premium features, and where you will feel good when you wear something, and if you don't like to cook, but you still like to wear it. So that's how it all started. And but it was not only focusing on one thing. It was like, are we creating sustainable brand? Are we giving some positive impact so that we do not destroy the planet? Are we helping local community, especially the Kansas local community? And that is how I got connected and collaborated with local NGOs. And I got to know that there are so many refugee immigrants who are out of job. So that's how I got into it. And we have really good, beautiful patterns, but we still are working on it. And we will put all those patterns on the website soon.
I love that. And I love the open transparency. Lisa, your energy was infectious. So who in your family had the problem that prompted this?
Well, it was the 4 kids. So it'd be child number 3.
Okay.
Brennan. He was diagnosed at 18 months, allergic to peanuts and soy.
Wow.
And then I knew he can handle dairy. From when I was nursing him, he'd get sick if I ate or drank dairy. So it was like, okay, that one we kind of figured out on our own. And then a couple years later, my youngest, Spencer, he was diagnosed allergic to peanuts, tree nuts, soy, egg, dairy, gluten. Like he had like 6 of the top 8. And so yeah, I had just, and then in learning what I did through them and having to change how I shopped and how I fed everybody and I kind of went across the board, and then I had everybody tested, and we did an IgG test, a little bit different than an IgE, which really looked at more of kind of the gut reactions to food allergies, or to food, I guess. And then it was realized that some of the issues my 2 older kids had ongoing for years, they too had sensitivities and intolerances and slight allergies, if you will, than I did myself. And so it turns out it's pretty much a genetic thing, because dairy and gluten are not my friends. And as I've gotten older, it's become extremely prevalent and how I feel physically and emotionally. So that's kind of what that's the backstory of how I ended up here with this whole now I have food and I make food and I shop different and eat different because of my two boys that started this whole thing for me back in 2004.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Jill, you're beating me to it in the chat. So just in case everybody's not following along, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I want people to put questions in the chat, because otherwise I could go on all day. But there was a question is, how do you account for cultural nuances, interpretation, etc.? So how do you do that?
But like I mentioned in the chat, we have over 25 instructors creating content, and they all are professionals in their different fields. We have a nurse practitioner, marriage and family, child development, financial coach. We have all these different backgrounds of people. And I really think that's what makes us more rounded and able to speak to different groups and different kinds of people is through their education and knowledge. And I mentioned this just briefly in the pitch, 3 minutes isn't a ton of time, but one of our next goals is to translate our courses into Spanish and to reach more people within childcare and with parenting. That's really a focus and a goal of ours.
I love it. I love it. We'll keep the questions coming. So speaking of like goals, Deb, what's the goal? I mean, your timing, the timing for us to meet you is impeccable because we're in the midst of the Olympics. And because of the time zone, I'm seeing sports I never would have even known to watch.
Right.
So
Right.
Talk to me about the business and where you see it's going.
Well, I hope that we can expand into other shoe lines. I'm in conversations with an Olympic hopeful athlete, actually, to have her be a spokesperson, create a shoe with her namesake.
Nice.
So that's one thing. So just continuing to offer new shoes. Like, for example, the shoes I started with are designed for girls like age 4 to 14. It's a really entry-level shoe. I have one coming out. It's called the Champion, and it's more for girls age 14 and up. And it's all about the theory behind the shoe is all about championing women, championing yourself. Sometimes women have a hard time championing themselves, but
Right.
also championing of other women and being your own champion. So just continuing to expand. And like I mentioned in my presentation, I mean, there's all these other sports, football, flag football is kind of an emerging sport for girls too. So getting into other sports also would be amazing.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I'm going to get everybody in, but Connor, there's a question is how long does it take to produce one box and what is the distribution strategy for supplying multiple countries at one time?
Awesome question. So we actually keep boxes on inventory, so we don't have to worry too much about lead times. But depending on different factors, that manufacturing time could take a little bit. However, our average time is about 3 days. So that's, the boxes start off actually as sheet metal, they get bent, they get welded, all that stuff can take about 3 days, depending on our manufacturer's timeline and different things on their back burners. And then the second part I see in the chat was, what is the distribution strategy for different countries?
Yep.
Honestly, it's just working with nonprofits. And so if a nonprofit comes to me and says, hey, this is the country working, okay, that's the country we're going to next. And so it's a little less of a focus on what we want and more on what people are needing out in the field.
I love it. I love it. And Kelsey, talk a little about how you got into this, because I'm going to come to you, Kelsey, and then Jill. So first of all, do you have your own kids?
Yes, I do have two kids.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because if you didn't have any, then no wonder you're so excited. But okay, you're genuinely excited. So all right. So tell us how you got to this.
Well, I've been a teacher for the past 10 years, and I taught second grade in Washington State, and then we moved to Kansas in 2017, and I then started teaching kindergarten, and I've been teaching kindergarten the last 4 years. Last year I taught virtual kindergarten.
Wow.
And I
just go.
No. I just love the thing that I guess the passion I've felt just teaching kindergarten in general is like our kids don't get enough time to just create without an end product, and like being able to take chances. Like when you tell a fifth grader, here's a Sharpie draw picture, most of them are freaking out because what if I make a mistake? What happens if my lines are too thick? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a piece of paper. Like try it, see what happens. And so really art can give us like the social skills as well of like, what happens when I mess up, or like, what do I do next? That I think is important for our kids and just adults in general to understand. So many adults say, I'm not creative, or I can't do that. And it's like, well, have you tried it? Or have you, like, how many times have you done it? And I say it to my students all the time when they say, well, I can't paint. It's like, well, how many times have you painted before, right? Like, most people just haven't had enough experience in what they're saying they can't do. So I like to make this a creative space of trying things. And yeah,
I like it.
That's
I like it. Jill, do you have kids?
I do, an almost 2 and almost 4-year-old. So right.
Okay, so there's some guy named Justin Bertelsen in a Q&A who said that I should ask you, how did you get started with this parenting business? So now I'm like curious. First of all, who is Justin? And then I want to hear the story.
Yeah. So Justin is my husband. He's actually,
I guess that.
He's downstairs trying to like, shh, everyone be quiet. You know, with a 2 and a 4-year-old, man, he's the one who should be getting all the high fives right now.
You got that right.
So, I studied marriage and family in my undergrad, and I really saw there's a gap between these people who have parenting education, like the teachers, and then there's these parents who need it. And there's this kind of weird stigma, I guess, that's like, oh, well, I can't ask for help when I'm a parent, or they ask for help and they get too many opinions out there, and really this business began trying to bridge that gap, get experts to the people who need it, and really support parents, because I really feel that families are the central unit to society. And it was while I was teaching those parenting courses that a daycare owner actually asked me if I would teach them for continuing education. And I was like, yeah, and then that's kind of what rolled out the getting accredited and expanding. Now we're in 36 states, ready to sell. So it's been a really fun journey to really bridge the gap between the education, but then also the families with the childcare.
I love that. And so I want to so tell Justin, thank you. Make sure he knows I asked you this question. Let me just say the chat is blowing up. So we got Kay Clayton Studio is awesome. We have best virtual kindergarten ever. So I love it. But the one question just came across the Q&A that I think is so important, because there's lots of pitch competitions, but we have said several times that this is really about supporting social entrepreneurs. So talk, and a couple of people like, well, are they nonprofits? And you're not. So I guess, I really want each of you to answer this, if you don't mind, and just say, like, why a social venture and why not nonprofit? Because I do think the two are oftentimes assumed to go together. And part of this is being intentional of saying, we want to invest in those for-profit social entrepreneurs who oftentimes are overlooked. So I'm going to start with you, Kelsey. We'll do Kelsey, Connor, and then we'll go across the room. So why is yours, like, how did you get to a social enterprise, and why not a nonprofit?
You would think I know how to unmute myself after a year of this, right?
I figured we weren't kindergarten, so that's why you couldn't figure it. You really weren't that, it was all good.
Well, when I do eventually want to create some sort of fund, because I do want art to be affordable and accessible to everyone in our community. And so I do want to create some sort of social scholarship of some sort. And I have an idea of, like, remember like the pizza coupons you would get at school, like when you did really well? Like, I feel like I'm working on a coupon for kids to be able to come in and craft along with us, that maybe not be able to do it on a regular.
I love it. Connor.
It's a really great question that I struggled with for a long time as an entrepreneur, between which type of entity I wanted to form. Ultimately, I chose the for-profit status so that I could really invest more money in the research and design. I felt like there were a few tax benefits I would be able to get as a for-profit, From an investment standpoint, I see a future of possibly taking on investors, and I wanted to leave that opportunity open. We do have joint ventures with nonprofits, so like a fiscal sponsorship. So if somebody wanted to sponsor a box and still get that tax write-off, we have that opportunity through some of our nonprofit partners. And so I don't feel limited by not being a nonprofit because we have those pathways set up to do so. And so really is about, showing that the entrepreneurship of, for-profit businesses making a difference was really important to me because we've seen nonprofit work so much in developing countries, and we haven't seen as much entrepreneurship from a for-profit standpoint. So I really wanted to take a stand on my values in that kind of aid world. Thank you.
I love it. Deb, we're going to go to you and then we'll do Anita.
Your question's about not-for-profit.
Why a social enterprise and why not a nonprofit?
I mean, mine's not necessarily, it has a nonprofit piece to it. I do a lot of philanthropy. I'm sending some shoes to an organization in Texas. I've sent some shoes to an organization in California. But ultimately, I'm retail consumer goods. So it's just generally a for-profit business.
Awesome. And Anita, what about you?
Yeah, I was actually very clear that I do not want to create nonprofit because the business model which I started was more about helping, supporting, and empowering those artists who are unable to sell. And when you get into nonprofit organization, there are challenges. You cannot enter into countries. So that was the only reason. Yeah, I want it to be profitable, but on top of that, we really want to build a community. And that was the idea that if, let's say that I want to go into Kenya, there are so many restrictions. I myself have been to Kenya more than 2 to 3 times, and I have seen how nonprofit companies really struggle to get access to government services because you have to take permission. So that's the only reason, actually.
I love it. And then Jill and then Lisa, what are your thoughts?
I kind of explained it a little bit, experiencing it firsthand as a parent, having questions and having that education. And then really going into childcare. The childcare industry is really struggling right now. They have not only a high turnover rate, but lots of people who are being laid off because of COVID. People are now keeping their kids home and, things like that. And so I think just seeing the problem and wanting to solve it. And for us, the best way was, to build an LLC for us. So.
And last but not least, Lisa.
So our product, obviously, it's a consumer goods product. So as something Deb just mentioned, for us, we're going to be a for-profit type of business. However, because of the community, if you will, the audience that our products tend to cater towards, there are lots of nonprofit groups and organizations that we have partnered with, or we will donate our products to food pantries. There's a homeless program, Project 1020, in the winter months. I donate our products to them. Food Equality Initiative, when there's fundraisers that are related to food allergies, we'll donate our products to that. Eventually, what I would like to see in the future for us, another, arm of my business, having been on the receiving end of being a parent who years ago could not afford my kids' EpiPens because back then, the companies were charging like $400 in insurance. It was crazy years ago. I would like to see us have a nonprofit component, if you will, a fund that then for families who have their insurance, they can't afford their low to no income families, they can't afford their EpiPens, they can't afford the medications, they can't even afford to get the kids tested or get them the medications they need so that their quality of life can be better than it is, and food allergies aren't getting in the way of that. That's what down the road I would like to see when we are a much larger company, a profitable company, that we could create that arm of our business to give back in that manner, not just donating our products, but being able to actually financially help other people. Back when people were helping me, I'd like to be able to pay that forward in the future. So.
Always. And I have to say, that's probably one of the most common themes I find amongst any entrepreneurs. So the judges are still deliberating. The audience is still voting. So I have one question for each of you all to ask. I'm going to do a speed round. So I'm just going to call your name and give me your answer. Okay. What's the hardest thing you encountered while starting your business? Anita.
Sorry,
And
I was on
you
mute.
could be one.
So I think the hardest part is to get fabric locally because
Okay.
we
So
wanted
sourcing.
to get, yeah, sourcing is really difficult because I'm not getting varieties. It's very restricted market. I think
Got
that's
it.
the most, challenging part.
Awesome. Thank you. Deb, hardest thing.
Honestly, getting over the mental piece. I mean, I was ready to go and had this thing ready to go, and then COVID hit. And back on was the premise behind my company that sometimes you have to say yes to hard things. And so that's what I did. I said yes to starting a business in a pandemic, and it's worked out.
I love it. I love it. Jill, hardest thing.
The hardest thing is, I would say also kind of a personal thing, is it's hard to balance between being a mom and working, and that mom guilt feeling of like, oh, I should be with my kids, and versus, oh, I really love to contribute and give education in a professional setting. And so I think really the hardest part for me has been finding that balance and then being confident in that balance.
I love it. And I appreciate that honesty. Kelsey, you got a little amen corner over there. So I'm going to ask you next, what was the hardest? And then we're going to go to Connor.
I think the hardest really, I know starting in COVID was going to be hard, but like really, unless your business is open prior to March of 2020, there isn't any support for us newbies that started after COVID. So it's nice to finally see that people are ready to start investing in because I feel like there was a lot of creative companies, at least, that came out through COVID. Like a lot of businesses started because of COVID as well.
Yep. It's fascinating. The statistics show that during times of crisis, so the recession, we had some of the biggest tech companies like Airbnb and others launch. And it's been interesting because stats show this too has seen a 40% spike in increase of entrepreneurship, and most of them have been women. So I love it. I love it. Connor, what about you?
Yeah, so thinking back to when I first started, the hardest thing was probably that, I wasn't taken seriously. I was a student, I was a young woman, I was in tech, and I constantly would get asked, well, what qualifies you to do this? Well, you don't have a business background, because I was studying math and physics. And it was just constantly like always having to try to prove myself. And so, I've made decisions that's led me where I am today just because I wanted to be able to prove people that I could do something. And it just seems silly now looking back on some things. But it was really the hardest part because it starts to play with you mentally. Like, well, am I qualified to do this? Can I do this? And so that was probably the biggest struggle back when I was starting to do this.
Okay. And so now I'm going to talk a little positive. What's the best thing that's happened to you since starting? I'm sorry, Lisa. Yes, I'm so sorry. I thought you did. I'm so sorry. Please. Yeah. So why don't we do this? So wait, Lisa.
It's been a walk in the park. It's been easy breezy.
No. So Lisa, tell me the hardest thing, and then you kick us off for the quick round robin because I see Lauren's back. So you tell me what's been the hardest, and then you start us off with what's been the best thing about starting a business.
Okay, the hardest thing was initially when I knew that I wanted my products to be in commercial, out in retail, being sold outside of a farmer's market, was finding that commercial space that was not going to have any, the whole cross-contamination issue. I didn't have money to get my own space, so I needed to find a space I could rent. It's extremely challenging. I had to find a space that was like 40 minutes one way. It was just, but I found it, I did it, I've grown since then, but that was in the beginning, one of those things that in order to really, for all the people that wanted to sell it, but couldn't, because I was still making it in my kitchen, in my house upstairs in the house I needed to instead, find that space. So that was very hard in the beginning and I found it, but it took about a year for me to get to that point that I could actually produce it somewhere that would meet the guidelines to be sold in grocery stores and businesses and that sort of thing. And then what was the second, about the easiest or the best, or what?
Go out on a high note. So what is the best thing before we talk about the judges in the audience? What's the best thing? And we're going to go around the room.
The best thing is it's the surrealness of thinking like I had this idea and it's like it's a thing like that, just the idea that, to feel like something that I was doing to help other people that I was giving away for free for like years has now turned into something that's like helping people just outside of my little family circle. Like it's so, you know, I think the best thing is that idea that I could take an idea and turn it into something that helps so many more people than I really imagined or realized that our business could do. So
Love it.
that's one of the things I think that's pretty cool about, you know, doing what I'm doing right now. And it's very surreal still most days.
Love it. I love it. Jill, what's the best thing for you?
I didn't realize this would be the best thing, but you know, most of the people that are our instructors or work for us are part-time moms who work at home. And it's been really fun for me to have kind of, you know, I love having my kids, so I don't want that make it sound like it doesn't, but it's fun to have kind of a different outlet and then to provide that outlet for other people who have knowledge, education, they want to share it, but you know, it's just not the stage of life, but it's giving them an opportunity to do so. And I've really enjoyed that.
Sorry. Deb, what's the best part for you?
Honestly, I've met the most amazing people. I mean, from Lisa and Connor, I met them in Pitch Perfect class. Meeting all these amazing people through the infrastructure in Kansas City. There's this amazing entrepreneurial community to just the traction in the business and the passion. I mean, I've met former Olympic athletes, current, you know, aspiring Olympic athletes. I mean, it's just, I've met the most amazing people in this journey.
Lucky you. Lucky you. Kelsey, what's the best thing? Go Team USA. What's the best thing?
I would say it's been really rewarding seeing these groups of friends that get to come in and they haven't seen each other in over a year and they get to just sit and relax and laugh and talk. Like we had a charcuterie class and this group of moms stayed for like 5 hours, but it was so fun. And it like we ended up having like another class while they were still here, and like they went out onto our patio, like we drug tables out there. Like it's just been so nice to like see people get to like interact and be with each other again. That's been the greatest.
I love it. And Connor, what's the best thing?
Well, the best thing was actually when I was interviewing a person who has a Sunshine Box. They received it after being severely impacted by Hurricane Maria. And in this interview, she told me that after everything was taken away from her from this hurricane, that the Sunshine Box brought her hope, because it brought her back to some sense of normalcy. And I can't even explain to you the goosebumps that I literally just got, even though I remember this conversation. Just, you know, those types of stories are really what makes this worth it, because it goes back to what everyone's kind of saying is we're changing lives, we're making impact. And that's truly the best part about this.
That is awesome. That's a perfect way to end this segment. And I'm happy to say the best part of this for me is I get to give away money. I'm so excited.
Anita, did she get to tell us her best?
Did you? Oh, Anita, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to give away money. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think best thing for me was to not to underestimate myself and to explore myself, to know that how much I can do for myself and for people out there. I was really too shy. I don't know if it's shy, like not too confident to talk openly, but from last, I think 2 years, I have really learned something about myself, that how much I can do, how much I can achieve, and how I can make my life meaningful by doing whatever I love to do, whatever I feel is the best for myself, for people out there.
I love that. Thank you. That's an even better way. Thank you so much. So we're going to ask the judges to pop back on so we can see their faces as we make the announcement. And having done this many times before, I know they did not have an easy decision. So first, let me thank everybody in the audience who's been sticking with us. We're going to talk about the winners. I want to thank each and every one of you, ladies, women, amazing social entrepreneurs, because we've done this a lot, as you know, we've done multiple cities, and this has been amazing. And I'm so excited that we can do it again. So this is awesome. So before I announce, Lauren, Giselle, Tony, was it hard? Was it easy? Giselle, how was it back there in the deliberation? Oh, look at Lauren holding her face. Uh-oh. How was it?
It was very, very hard to make a decision. You all were fantastic. So that's why we took so long.
That's all good.
Sorry, not sorry. It was so hard. You all did an amazing job, and thank you so much.
I love it. Well, let me just say this. Not only did you all have a hard time, the audience had a hard time, because we actually had a tie in the audience. So what we've decided to do is that there was a $5,000 allocation for the audience award. There were 2 winners, and so we're going to split the $5,000. So the audience award, the 2 winners are Jill and Anita. So congratulations, ladies. You want to take yourself off mute? Jill, you want to say anything? Because this is your chance to address the audience, because they voted for you. So Jill, we'll start with you, and then you, Anita.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm excited to use this to reach more families, reach you as the audience. I mean, that's the whole reason we did this. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Anita, what about you?
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. And to be honest, when I told my seamstresses that we are into the final competition, they didn't understand anything because they don't speak in English.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, guys, I have to get this done and then make them understand that what it means to us. So thank you so much, whoever voted for us. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Well, that is great. And so now we're going to talk about the judges. So now we'll understand why Lauren went like this. But Lauren reminds me that I would be remiss if I did not thank the amazing HI-HERImpact KC Advisory Committee, which included Lauren and Tony and Maria Myers, Jenny Miller, Bob Martin, Adam Arredondo, Anthony Lupino, Andy Stoll, Kara Hoover, Gwen Grant, Heather Hall, Jeanette Prenger, Davin Gordon, and Laura Moore. We thank them all because this was definitely a thing to pull off. And so we appreciate their support in putting together the program. They decided how many awards, and obviously they helped us get to Amazing Women. So we are extremely, extremely grateful. Okay, so here we go. So if you remember, there are 2 $5,000 awards. There is one $10,000 award, and there is one $25,000 award. So let's start with the 2 $5,000. We're going to give $5,000 to Safely Delicious. So excited. Congratulations, Lisa. You want to say anything?
Thank you. No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm very, very appreciative. That will go to very good use to help us continue going and growing. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you. The other $5,000 goes to somebody we just named, Jill Bertelsen. Congratulations. See, your husband now should be running up the stairs, hopping on the screen with you, and the kids can go crazy.
Yeah. We don't know what's going on down there, so we'll just leave it there.
Well, hopefully, nothing is broken, but if not, you get a little cash that, you can fix. So that is awesome. Yeah. Congratulations to you both. And then we have the $10,000 award, also going to someone that we just talked about. Anita, congratulations. You're on mute. So tell me, we're so proud of you. Tell me what you're going to say to the women who didn't understand what you were doing.
I'm going to meet them on Saturday because there's no point to say anything on phone because they will not understand.
I love it.
So I will go because I have to meet on Saturday and I'll just tell them what we have achieved. And I know they will be happy.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you and congratulations. Thank you so much. Which gives us one more. And Giselle, do you want to announce who the winner is?
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
Can we do a drum roll though?
Let's do a drum roll. Okay, so the winner of the $25,000 prize is Sunshine Box, Connor.
All right. Yes. All right, Connor, what you got to say for yourself? You got some more money to make some more boxes.
I'm honestly completely without words. And I know for the few people that know me that are in the panel right now know that's not a normal thing. I typically always have something to say. But thank you all so much. This is going to be huge for our impact around the world. I'm going to get teary-eyed. It just
Oh, good.
Fun. Thank you.
Yay!
Congratulations to all of you.
Woohoo! Well, this was awesome. And I want to thank everybody for hanging in there. Now, the best part about this is that we're coming back. We will be back in Kansas City. We will do one more summit and one more pitch competition. So if you have not heard about this before, check out the website, HERimpact.net. We have all the information out there. You have amazing people on this panel to find and ask them what the experience was. We'll be back with the summit and back with the pitch competition. So if these women inspired you, then ask them what they did to prepare to get this far, because we would love to see you next time at the pitch competition. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Tony, specifically for welcoming us to Kansas City. I can't wait to get back there to get some barbecue. Love that town. Appreciate you all. Have a wonderful evening. And as I always say, stay safe and stay sane, and we'll see you again in Kansas City. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.